they feel like, wow, we can do things together in a way we never had thought about that's possible.
Yeah.
And so suddenly it doesn't matter if you talk, if you want to connect with someone who is in whatever, Boston, in Burkina Faso, in Taiwan, in Germany, whatever, in the Netherlands, possible. So and as far as I know, in the mobile revolution, so to say, jumped over the landline connectivity of the internet in Africa. So that many things are just like enhanced by mobile internet.
Yeah.
And what always, if I recall, as a scientist, and in the research and results and other reports about the economy in all the African countries, everybody says, yeah, okay, they don't have so much landlines because they have just everything is paid by phone. And I must say that many people and politicians, businesses were looking at this. If I sense it right, if I remember it right, they say, yeah, that's amazing. How do they do this? Mobile internet without any landline. With a kind of feeling, distance, how does it work? It's a different way. But now we're coming to the point. Now, with all the digitization connecting us more than ever during these last 12 months, I feel like exactly this advantage of African infrastructure is rising.
Yes.
Is a rising value.
Yes. Exactly. Because what you're seeing is, you see, the divide and conquer strategy has worked for thousands and thousands of years, right? It has been the most perfect strategy where, I was reading an analogy the other day where someone was saying to me, if you put, let's say I take my coffee press here and then I put black ants and red ants into the coffee jar, and then I just let them live. Apparently they can live really, really well together. But then the moment I shake the jar, right? And then I take them off, then basically they start killing each other. Why? Because then the shaking of the jar, the black ants thought that it was the red ants, and then the red ants thought it was the black ants. So, but then the real question is, who shook the jar? Now, coming back to what we were talking about. So coming back to what we were talking about, the divide and conquer strategy has been fantastic for the last number of years. Now we've come to the point where we are all connected. And through this connectivity, where there are no more boundaries, right?
That's the point.
There are literally no more boundaries.
Exactly. Yeah.
So through this connectivity, we're realizing how much more similar we are, and we are looking, because we're feeling a little bit oppressed, and therefore we're looking deeper. And as you're looking deeper, you're searching for the deeper answers, the more meaningful answers. And therefore you come down to the same fundamental, which is love. We all just need love. Now, what that has done, essentially, is that we are coming to a point where the connectivity has enabled us, the technology has enabled us, and the current circumstances have removed all distractions that would, stay in our face to keep all the prejudices that we would have had. And so people are now realizing, hey, we actually hold the same opinions about certain things. We hold the same opinions about, we're being oppressed. Before, information would come from one source, and then that information would be used to divide all of you. Now, information comes from one source, but then because we're all connected to each other, we check that information with each other. So like if I hear something, then I text you and I say, hey, Matthias, did you hear this? Then if you don't believe it, and I'm also feeling like I don't believe it, then, we are already connected. So this is the advantage, that unity is now more possible with technology than it ever was a time before. And this, I think, is a really strong thing, because for the first time, the world has always been ruled from a pyramid type of perspective, so top down. And for the first time now, because the people are getting connected, it's about to start becoming bottom up, and that is going to change the course of of reality as we know it. I think that's going to be very interesting.
So what would you suggest? I mean, having here the so to say, this is the pyramid.
Yeah.
But the with the bottom up movement, so to say. And how could we approach this? So we heard from today. So if we say make a conclusion, so what could be a roadmap, or what would be your estimate? Let's say for the next 5 years on this trend. If you sorry, it's a big question. It's just like, Neville, tell me the future of the African continent.
Exactly. It's like, so that's a very interesting one, but I think I can tell you from how I sort of see it. Like I think in order to see where it's going, you need to see where it's come from. A little bit. So I'm looking back at where it came from. See, so ancient Egypt, we already said was black. And for those that have several questions about that, you can always read the story, the book, The African Origin of Civilization, by Sheikh Anta Diop, a Senegalese scientist. But ancient Egypt was called Kemet, and Kemet means black land, basically, or land of the blacks. And this was a very interesting place, because also then if you take that and then you move on to what's happening right now, you see a lot of what's the problems that we have been facing is that, like, all the outcries from Africa and about misjustice and everything is because the people have not been living in a black land, so to speak. So, you know, like if you're looking at the people in the US, you know, they are complaining about being misused and racism in the US, but like essentially the USA is not a black land, so to speak. People that are complaining about not being able to get a job because of racial issues, it's because it's not a black land. So what am I saying in any way? I'm saying, let's use connectivity. Why? Connectivity means that once you have a network, these days the boundaries don't matter. So if you are an African student who's based in Africa, you can do an internship in the US, for example, you know? But you need to have the connectivity. And so the connectivity means there needs to be a black network. Because every single group of people has always developed in this way. If you look at what the Chinese are doing now in the recent past, this is exactly how they've done it. They come in their communities, they create a Chinatown, the Chinatown expands, they keep bringing more people, and then it keeps expanding, and then they keep investing in more businesses. This is exactly how that has worked. The Europeans did exactly the same thing in the last 300-400 years. You know, the Indians have done the same thing. The Jewish communities have done the same thing. So this is exactly what needs to happen now within the African community. So the African community, and in terms of the diaspora, needs to connect with the locals. The locals need to connect with the diaspora. People need to break the prejudices of thinking, oh yeah, but you're diaspora and you think you're better than me. And oh, but you're you know, you're a local and, you know, like I am better than you. This is not the case. We are all exactly the same. We're all going through the same struggles, maybe in a different context, but same struggles. So the important thing is that in the roadmap, we need to connect each other as Africans. We need to open up opportunities for each other as Africans. We need to focus on investing also in Black-owned businesses and Black-owned communities, because I strongly believe if you put together the amount of money that is existing in the Black community worldwide, you could actually invest in Africa and make a big difference. This I strongly believe.